What we can be successfully do through training. Without training, impossible. You must be very determined to do. Okay?
How can we make others, especially non-Buddhists, see the truth? Because a lot of concepts that Bhante said today can be quite unconventional, not accepted by the normal people.
Yeah, if they want to know the truth, they need to train themselves to be skillful in the habits of their own mind. Only then they become aware that there is no creator. It is happening according to cause and effect. If they have open-minded, it is very good for them to do. It is not it is what we should suggest them without telling that this is the teachings of the Buddha. Because we have body and mind. Whether Buddhists, whether non-Buddhists, they have body and mind too. If they want to live more peacefully, they should know their mind too. We can suggest them to be skillful reading the habits of their own mind. By doing so, they will come to know that there is no creator. But it depends on their willingness. We can't do if they are unwilling.
Any questions? Okay, Bhante actually have quite a few questions from the last session. Bhante, what's the key difference between a parami and a normal good deed? How can one turn a good bodily, verbal or mental deed into parami?
Parami, parami is noble quality. When we are going to make an offering, at that time, we can fulfill parami if we understand how to fulfill its parami. As you all know, whenever people do something, mostly they do expecting something in returns. If they do this way, it will not be the way of fulfilling parami. It is just doing good deeds. It will be wholesome, but it will not be fulfilling parami. So if you make an offering, wishing oneself to be able to make an end of suffering, you make an aspiration, may these deeds, offering, be for the realization of Nibbana. Nibbana, where there is no trace of mentality and materiality, where there is no sensuality. If you make such aspiration the time you make an offering for the realization of Nibbana, you are making an offering not to get anything, just to make an end of suffering. If you do so, it will be the way of fulfilling parami.
Dear Bhante, how can we differentiate the right teachings from the wrong teachings of the Buddha? And how can lay Buddhists help in the propagation of the Dharma?
Buddha taught. In the teachings of the Buddha, there are Suttana. So there is Abhidhamma and there is Vinaya. 3 Pitaka. 3 baskets of the teachings of the Buddha. Do you accept Abhidhamma? If you don't accept Abhidhamma, you cannot see the true teachings. Only because of Abhidhamma, we partially understand that Buddha is omniscient one. Only through learning, studying Abhidhamma, you will know how great the knowledge of the Buddha. But nowadays, including some Singaporeans, including some other nationalities from other countries, some they accept, some they reject. Because of the teachers, this happened. Those teachers who don't accept Abhidhamma, they guide their disciples that Abhidhamma is not the teachings of the Buddha. Those who don't accept commentary, they guide their disciples. Commentary are not the teachings of the Buddha. Frankly to say, if you read the teachings of the Buddha, which translated into English, you will see not the detailed instructions how to practice. It is suit for those who met with the Buddha, because Buddha is omniscient one. He knew how to teach, what to teach, to which extent does he need to teach to his disciples. Those who met with him are those who fulfilled Bharami along. He was fulfilling Bharami as a bodhisattva in many existences that Buddha know them well. To which extent do I need to teach them? But for nowadays people, commentators know. Later generation will not understand properly what the Buddha said. So they wrote commentary, not by their own. In times of the Buddha, some they approached to the Buddha, listened the Dharma from the Buddha, and that they didn't understand, because among many audience they can't ask the Buddha at that time. So they went to see Venerable Sariputra, Venerable Anuruddha, Venerable Ananda, asked, what is the meaning of this? And they explain more detail. It is handed down from one generation to another, first orally. They are commentaries. Only when those who knew that later generation, they have no such good memory to memorize, and they had to hand it down orally from one generation to another, they started written down into books. Okay? So commentaries are handed down in this way. We know how to teach deeply because of commentaries explanation. Yesterday Dharma talk I've given in yesterday night Q&A section in the Masatipatthana Sutta. So it is translated into English, the body, contemplating the body as the body. So kaye kaya nupasi viharati. This is translated into English. Kaya, mostly you know kaya is body. But in the commentary it is explained. Kaya here means Rupa Kaya and Nama Kaya. We can't translate just body. What is Rupa Kaya? What is Nama Kaya? Rupa Kaya means a group of materiality. Buddha taught past, present, future, internally, externally, near, far, superior, inferior, gross and subtle. Altogether 11 categories. These are called Rupa Kaya. Nama Kaya means group of mentality. It is also 11 categories. Need to contemplate these Nama and Rupa in ultimate sense. Okay? So without reading the commentary. So please be aware of those who don't accept commentary. They translate the way they understand. It becomes their own commentary. which commentary is more reliable, those who know the wish of the Buddha or later generation. Okay? That's why we know how to teach, because of commentary explanation. There they explain step by step how to practice. Okay? That's why if you want to learn the true teachings of the Buddha, you must be the one who follows. Those who accept the teachings of the Buddha, Pali, commentary, Abhidhamma, but this is not enough too. Those who accept commentary and Abhidhamma, they also don't follow commentary and Abhidhamma too. They follow their traditions, their teachers' tradition. This is also bad too. If it is not in accordance with the teachings of the Buddha, we also should not follow those traditions too. But if it is in accordance with the teachings of the Buddha, whichever tradition, it is okay. Okay? I can say generally only, you need to take time to know the truth.
And Bhante, how can lay Buddhists help in the propagation of the Dharma?
Yeah, if you can support the true teachings of the Buddha, and to those who are distributing the true teachings of the Buddha, you are the one who is supporting propagation work. But initially, we all don't know who is doing propagation work righteously, in a right way. It doesn't matter. If you respect someone, we should support, because we respect wholesome states of mind arise. But along the way, you need to observe whether my teacher is teaching the true teachings of the Buddha. You need to depend not on the person, but on the Dharma. People, mostly they depend on the person, not on the Dharma. People quarrel one another because of depending on a person. If you depend on the Dharma, there will be no quarreling. Okay? That's why please divide a person and the Dharma, and do study, follow the Dharma, not to a person. If I am not telling the Dharma, please don't follow. It is dangerous for you. If I am telling the Dharma, please follow the Dharma, not to me. It is important. Okay?
Bhante, just a practical question. I've recently joined a running event that involves running through a forest, and it's organized by a group that's trying to do a good cause by raising awareness to preserve this forest. But after I signed up, this thought came to my mind that during the run, will we actually be squashing and killing the worms and the insects in the forest, and actually, in a way, causing more damage? So although the run is for a good cause, now that this thought has come to my mind that I might be squashing the insects and the living creatures in the forest, should I then withdraw from the run?
Chetana hambikwi karma vadami, I declare volition as karma, Buddha said. Okay? If we are going to do something, we need to observe our mind, whether we have good intention or not. If we have good intention, so if we have no bad intention, it will be right. Anyway, if something we are going to do is for the suffering of others, if we really know better, we shouldn't. Okay? Only after doing that, we doubt whether I have done something bad for others, creatures. You may have doubt, but you have no bad intention. You should not feel any bad thoughts in your mind. Okay? Because the time you're doing, happily doing, at that time you may have no any bad intention. But if you become